Lieutenant Commander Maya Chen rubbed her eyes, staring at the monitor that displayed an anomalous gravitational signature she'd been tracking for the past 3 hours. The International Space Agency's Deep Space Monitoring Station on Callisto was usually quiet during the night shift, but tonight something had caught her attention. Something massive moving where nothing should be. "Computer, run diagnostic sequence delta on the gravitational array," she said, reaching for her coffee mug. "Diagnostic complete. All systems functioning within normal parameters," the computer replied. Maya frowned. If the equipment was working properly, then the reading was real, a massive object approaching from outside the solar system, moving in ways that defied standard celestial mechanics. As she prepared to alert her superiors, the air in her lab shimmered and crackled with static electricity. The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped several degrees in seconds. Maya instinctively backed against the wall, eyes wide as a blinding column of light materialized in the center of the room. When the light faded, 3 figures stood before her, humanoid but definitely not human. Their bodies were slender and semi-translucent, with intricate patterns of light pulsing beneath skin that resembled polished opal. They had no visible mouths, and their large almond-shaped eyes contained swirling galaxies of color. "Lieutenant Commander Maya Chen of Earth." The voice resonated directly in her mind, carrying with it impressions of vast distances and ancient knowledge. "Your primitive species has been observed engaging in what you call mechanical engineering, a concept we abandoned millennia ago." Maya swallowed hard, her scientific mind racing to process what was happening. "Who? What are you?" "We represent the Galactic Alliance, a confederation of civilizations spanning 17% of this galaxy." The tallest being stepped forward, its skin shifting to a cooler blue hue. "I am Observer Thalion of the Aetheric Collective." Another being moved beside the first, this one with patterns that pulsed in faster, more erratic rhythms. "I am Architect Keldra of the Luminous Accord." The telepathic voice carried notes of impatience and, surprisingly, fear. The third alien remained silent, observing Maya with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "We require your assistance," Thalion continued, the admission clearly causing discomfort. "A rogue neutron star defies our predictive models. It threatens a densely populated sector containing 4 trillion sentient beings across 12 systems." Maya blinked, trying to comprehend the scale. "And you came to Earth? To me? Why not?" "Our civilization has achieved computational perfection," interrupted Keldra, projecting a holographic display from its palm, a 3-dimensional map of swirling stars and planets. "Our quantum systems predict stellar movements with 98% accuracy. Yet this object," a pulsing red dot appeared in the projection, "defies all algorithmic projections. We observe your species still engages in physical manipulation of mechanical systems," Thalion added, the mental voice carrying a trace of what might have been embarrassment. "A practice we consider primitive but potentially useful in this unique circumstance." Maya stepped forward, professional curiosity overcoming her initial fear. The holographic display showed complex calculations and trajectory predictions, mathematics far beyond current human understanding. Yet as she studied the neutron star's path, she spotted patterns the aliens had missed, not through superior intelligence, but through the uniquely human ability to recognize imperfections and improvise solutions. "Your models assume perfect symmetry in gravitational waves," she said, pointing to an area in the projection. "But look here and here. There's interference creating ripples in the field. Your calculations are precise, but they're precisely wrong because the baseline assumptions don't account for these irregularities." The aliens exchanged glances, their skin patterns flickering rapidly in what Maya guessed was their form of communication. "Perhaps," Thalion finally projected, "your primitive perspective may indeed prove valuable. You will accompany us immediately." "Wait," Maya protested. "I need to inform my government, my superiors." "Time contracts," Keldra projected sharply. 4 trillion lives against your protocols. Choose, human. Maya looked at her console, at the coffee cooling on her desk, at the photograph of her parents tucked beside her monitor. Then she looked back at the aliens and their impossible technology. "I'll need my toolkit," she said. The transition between worlds was instantaneous and disorienting. One moment Maya stood in her lab on Callisto. The next she found herself aboard what she assumed was the aliens' vessel, though vessel seemed inadequate for the space she now occupied. The chamber around her defied conventional architecture. Walls curved in impossible geometries, materials shimmered between solid and translucent states, and what appeared to be stars moved slowly across the ceiling. The entire structure felt alive, responsive to the movements of its occupants. "The celestial calculator," announced Thalion, gesturing with elongated fingers. "Our finest achievement in computational engineering." Maya clutched her hastily packed toolkit, a battered metal case containing instruments considered antiques by 22nd century Earth standards, but irreplaceable to her. The familiar weight grounded her as she followed her alien hosts through corridors that seemed to construct themselves just before they walked through. They entered an expansive chamber where 5 other beings awaited, each so different from the next that Maya struggled to process what she was seeing. Together with her 3 escorts, they formed what she would learn was the Council of 7. One appeared as a pulsating cloud of bioluminescent particles contained within a faint energy field. Another resembled an animated crystal formation that refracted light in hypnotic patterns. The third was a writhing mass of iridescent tentacles and multifaceted eyes. The fourth seemed almost human until Maya noticed the subtle rippling of its skin, like water flowing beneath a transparent membrane. The fifth was a swirling vortex of dark energy with occasional flashes of what looked like mathematical equations manifesting within its depths. "You bring a human into the High Council." The crystal being's thoughts carried tones of disbelief and revulsion. "And it carries primitive tools. Necessity dictates unusual measures," Thalion responded. "Observer Thalion requests permission to share crisis data with the human specialist." "Granted," projected the vortex being. "Though I register my formal protest." A holographic display materialized before Maya, depicting the rogue neutron star and its projected path. As she studied the data, the ship suddenly lurched violently. The gravity shifted, sending alien dignitaries and their elaborate technological displays tumbling in chaotic zero-G confusion. Alarms pulsed through the chamber, not as sound, but as waves of discomfort in Maya's mind. The aliens' mental communications became a cacophony of panic and accusation. Gravitic systems failure. Initiate quantum recalibration. Diagnostic algorithms show no resolution pathway. While the council members flailed helplessly in the zero gravity, Maya's experienced eye spotted the problem immediately. Near the chamber ceiling, a physical connection had come loose on what appeared to be an actual mechanical component, surprising in a ship that seemed otherwise built of exotic energy and programmable matter. Without hesitation, she pushed off against a wall, propelling herself toward the component. "Human, do not touch the ship's systems," came Keldra's panicked mental command. Maya ignored the warning, reaching the component and examining it closely. The connection was simple, essentially a sophisticated version of a loose wire. She pulled a multi-tool from her kit, made a quick adjustment, and sealed the connection. Gravity returned instantly, causing council members to crash unceremoniously to the floor. "Barbaric," gasped the crystalline counselor, its facets vibrating with indignation. "Effective," countered the cloud entity, reassembling itself into coherent form. Thalion approached Maya as she floated back down. "You physically altered ship systems without computational modeling or predictive analysis. This approach is incomprehensible to us." "I saw the problem and fixed it," Maya said with a shrug. "Sometimes you just need to get your hands dirty." "Dirty?" The word transmitted with repulsion and confusion. "It's an expression. It means doing physical work instead of just thinking about it." The council members exchanged rapid communications that excluded Maya, their forms pulsing with what she interpreted as agitation. Finally, Thalion turned back to her. "The Council has agreed to grant you limited access to our neutron star data and observational equipment," the alien projected. "But under no circumstances are you to physically interact with any Alliance technology without explicit authorization." "I'll need to see your engines," Maya said firmly, "and the mechanical components of your stellar observation equipment." The request triggered visible distress among the Council members. Why would anyone need to touch technology? The water-skinned alien projected with genuine bewilderment. Maya smiled slightly. "Because that's how humans solve problems." Maya's return to Earth triggered global panic. The Alliance had reluctantly agreed to let her assemble a team, but insisted on minimal disruption to human society. That plan dissolved when their ship materialized over downtown Tokyo, its cloaking systems malfunctioning due to Earth's unexpectedly noisy electromagnetic environment. Within hours, humanity faced the shocking truth of their cosmic insignificance and their sudden importance to beings of unimaginable advancement. Maya bypassed the chaos of emergency government sessions and military responses. Instead, she hijacked an emergency broadcast system with help from Alliance technology. "My name is Lieutenant Commander Maya Chen of the International Space Agency," she announced to billions of stunned viewers. "I need specific people with specific skills. This isn't about politics or power. It's about solving a problem that threatens trillions of lives." The broadcast cut to images of the neutron star threat, simplified for public understanding, followed by Maya's unconventional recruitment list. She wasn't calling for astrophysicists or quantum theorists. She wanted watchmakers, mechanics, engineers, and craftspeople. "I need people who understand how things work by feeling them work," she explained. Within 72 hours, an abandoned aircraft hangar outside Geneva had been transformed into humanity's first interstellar workshop. The team that assembled there looked nothing like the scientific elite that governments had tried to impose on the project. Hiroshi Tanaka, an 82-year-old Japanese watchmaker, arrived with cases of miniature tools and mechanisms so precise they seemed magical even by 22nd century standards. "The universe is like a watch," he told Maya quietly. "It has gears we cannot see." Nkioma Okafor strode in next, the Nigerian engineer whose revolutionary water systems built from scrap metal had transformed drought-stricken regions. She assessed the Alliance technology with narrowed eyes. "Too clean," was her only comment. "Nothing works perfectly forever." Luis Mendez, a Mexican deep-sea equipment specialist, brought experience repairing machinery under crushing oceanic pressure. "Extremes reveal weaknesses," he said, examining the neutron star data. Zhang Wei arrived last, China's controversial nanotechnology pioneer, who insisted on building physical prototypes despite the field's preference for simulation. "Models lie," he stated flatly when introduced to the Alliance representatives. "Hands learn truths that eyes miss." The workshop became a chaotic contrast to the sterile Alliance environments, a place of welding sparks, hammering sounds, and arguments in multiple languages. The alien observers watched with a mixture of disgust and fascination as coffee spilled on blueprints, components were tested to deliberate failure, and humans physically manipulated materials in ways the Alliance had abandoned millennia ago. "Inefficient," remarked Keldra on the third day, after watching Zhang and Luis argue over a component design by sketching competing versions on a greasy napkin. "Creative," countered Maya. The breakthrough came on the 9th day. Hiroshi, working late when others had collapsed from exhaustion, combined his watchmaking precision with Zhang's nanoscale manipulation techniques. Together, they created a miniature version of what Maya had dubbed the gravity well, a device capable of generating directed gravitational fields. When demonstrated to the full team the next morning, the prototype crushed itself under its own forces. Everyone cheered. "Why celebrate failure?" Thalion asked, genuinely puzzled. "Because now we know exactly how it fails," explained Nkioma, already sketching modifications. That's worth more than 1,000 simulations. 3 more prototypes failed spectacularly. The 4th survived for 6 minutes before melting. The 5th actually worked, briefly creating a gravitational lens that bent light around itself before shorting out the hangar's entire power grid. During the blackout, Maya found herself standing beside Thalion in the emergency lighting. "Your methods appear random and dangerous," the alien observed. Maya watched her team already disassembling the failed device by flashlight, laughing and arguing about improvements. "No," she replied. "They're human." The celestial calculator hurtled through space at velocities that made Maya's scientific training seem inadequate. Physics became suggestion rather than law inside the Alliance vessel, yet she felt strangely calm as she monitored the final diagnostics on the fleet of modified mining ships trailing behind them. "This is insanity," Keldra projected, hovering nervously nearby. "Your devices contain actual moving parts." "That's generally how machines work," Maya replied without looking up from her console. The council chamber had been transformed into a joint command center. The holographic display showed the threatened star systems, 12 inhabited worlds with over 4 trillion sentient beings, all blissfully unaware that their fate rested in the hands of a species many considered barely civilized. "The Alliance shield generators will deploy in 6 minutes," announced the crystalline counselor. "You may observe our technology's correct approach to the problem." Maya exchanged glances with Lewis, who managed their communications with the mining fleet. He gave a subtle head shake. They still needed more time to position the gravity well network. "Alliance systems at full capacity," announced Thalion as massive energy readings appeared on the display. "Shield deployment commencing." What followed was visually spectacular, but horrifying. A shimmering energy barrier materialized in the neutron star's path, a feat of engineering that would have seemed godlike to humans just days earlier. For 7 seconds, it held, warping space around it in beautiful, complex patterns. Then it shattered. The barrier fractured along mathematical fault lines, creating a gravitational resonance that actually accelerated the neutron star. Alarms blared throughout the ship as projections recalculated. The star would now reach the inhabited worlds in hours rather than days. "Impossible," projected the Vortex counselor, its dark energy form fluctuating wildly. "Our models were perfect." "Perfect isn't good enough," Maya said firmly, standing to address the council. "We need to deploy our solution now." "Your primitive contraptions," scoffed the crystal being. "After witnessing our failure." "Because of your failure," Nkioma interjected. "Your shield was mathematically perfect, but practically flawed. You tried to stop a neutron star with pure energy. We need to give it somewhere else to go," Maya explained. "Our gravity wells will create a corridor, a path of least resistance that diverts the star around the inhabited systems." After frantic mental communications, the council reluctantly authorized the human plan. Maya's team rushed to coordinate the mining vessel fleet, but nothing went smoothly. As the ships moved into position, critical systems failed across multiple vessels. Communications dropped intermittently. Equipment malfunctioned under cosmic radiation. "Vessel 7 reporting complete navigation failure," Lewis called out, his voice tense. "Manuel is attempting manual positioning." "Manual," projected Keldra with horror. "That's directly in the neutron star's path." On the main display, they watched the mining vessel drift dangerously close to the approaching stellar mass. Inside it, veteran asteroid miner Manuel Rodriguez worked with failing equipment and depleting oxygen to manually calibrate the gravity well device. "We've lost contact with Vessel 3, John reported. "The gravitational distortion is stronger than we calculated." Nkioma suddenly slammed her fist on her console. "The mathematical models aren't accounting for the resonance patterns. The field strength needs to be reconfigured for all deployed units." "There's no time for that," Maya said grimly. "We need tow." Her words were cut off as the entire ship shuddered. A faction of council members led by the crystal entity had attempted to override the command center controls. "This human plan endangers everything," the crystalline thoughts projected. We must retreat and calculate a new approach. Maya found herself physically grappling with alien security forces, trying to maintain control of the communications array. Lewis, transmit the recalibration sequence immediately. Across the fleet, human miners made desperate adjustments based on instinct and experience rather than perfect calculations. Manuel, trapped in his failing vessel, manually triggered his device as the neutron star loomed impossibly large in his viewport. The gravitational corridor formed, imperfect, unstable, but functional. The massive star began to shift its trajectory, pulled along the path of least resistance that human hands had crafted in the vacuum of space. "It's working," whispered Zhang in disbelief as the projections updated. The neutron star accelerated along its new path, safely bypassing the inhabited worlds. The mining vessel fleet reports came in. 3 ships lost, including Manuel's. In the sudden silence of the command center, Maya faced the council. "Your perfect solution failed. Our imperfect solution worked. The difference? We expected things to go wrong, and were ready to adapt." 3 months after the neutron star crisis, Maya found herself in a position she could never have imagined. Addressing representatives from over 2,000 civilizations in the Alliance Grand Forum. The vast chamber defied human architectural understanding, existing simultaneously in multiple dimensions and adapting its acoustics perfectly to each species' auditory capabilities. "The human consultancy is now accepting limited contracts," she concluded her presentation. "We offer practical solutions where computational modeling has proven insufficient." The aftermath of the neutron star incident had transformed humanity's status in the galactic community. Maya and her team had become unlikely celebrities, their images rendered in forms they could barely comprehend. As light sculptures, pheromone patterns, and quantum holograms across thousands of worlds. Back in their expanded workshop complex, now occupying the entire former ISA complex in Geneva, Maya reviewed incoming requests with her core team. Gravitational anomalies in the Cygnus arm, Kielma noted, examining a holographic display, similar to what we solved, but affecting a spatial distortion network. Structural failures in a heliocapture array around Proxima Centauri, added Lewis. They've run 10 million simulations without finding the source. Hiroshi, hands steady despite his age, adjusted his spectacles, and 17 requests for demonstrations of human mechanical intuition. They wish to study us like laboratory specimens. Zhang snorted. Let them watch. They still won't understand. The door chimed, announcing a visitor. An elegant, silver-skinned being entered, Kelvar, a junior diplomat assigned as liaison between the Alliance Council and the Human Consultancy. The Grand Archive has approved your unprecedented request, Kelvar announced, visibly uncomfortable. You will be granted physical access to the historical records repository. Maya had insisted on personally examining the Alliance's records of cosmic anomalies rather than accepting their data summaries. The archive contained the accumulated knowledge of civilizations spanning millions of years, yet had never been physically visited by researchers. All access was typically neural and algorithmic. When do we leave? Maya asked. You leave, Kelvar emphasized. The Council approves one human representative only. 2 days later, Maya stood inside a structure orbiting a nameless star at the Alliance hub. The archive was a vast crystalline sphere containing what appeared to be fractal patterns that shifted and flowed in response to query patterns. These physical terminals haven't been used in 8,000 years, Kelvar explained, gesturing to interfaces that materialize from the floor. Most species find direct neural interface more efficient. I prefer to see the data with my eyes, Maya replied, sitting at the terminal. Hours stretched into days as she methodically examined records spanning centuries. Initially, the anomalies appeared random. A gravitational hiccup here, a spatial distortion there. But as she mapped them chronologically and spatially, patterns emerged. On the 5th day, she found it. undeniable evidence that the anomalies weren't random events but symptoms of a degenerating cosmic fabric. Each incident occurred at increasingly shorter intervals and with greater intensity, like the progressive failure of an aging mechanical system. "This can't be coincidence," she muttered to herself, printing physical copies of key data against Kelvar's protests. When she presented her findings to the Council in an emergency session, the chamber divided sharply. Half the aliens dismissed her theory as primitive pattern-seeking, an evolutionary byproduct of a species that still hunted for survival. Others listened with growing concern. "You suggest the universe itself is breaking down," projected Thalion, the closest thing Maya had to an ally on the Council. "Not the universe," Maya clarified. "The physical laws that govern it. Like any machine, the cosmos requires maintenance." "Absurd anthropomorphism," the crystalline counselor projected loudly. "The universe is not a machine. Then why is it showing classic signs of mechanical fatigue?" Maya countered, displaying her evidence. "These anomalies are stress fractures in spacetime, and they're getting worse." As the council erupted into factions, Maya noticed something that troubled her more than the cosmic crisis. The oldest members, those who had witnessed millennia of history, weren't arguing. They were afraid. Maya floated in a specially designed observation chamber aboard an Alliance scout vessel, watching the cosmic dance of a binary star system beginning to destabilize. The twin stars circled each other in a pattern that had remained consistent for billions of years, until now. Recently, their orbits had begun to decay in ways that Alliance models couldn't explain. As she studied their movement, something clicked in her mind. The pattern reminded her of a failing engine she had once repaired on Earth, a small utility vehicle with worn bearings in its drive shaft. The wobble was distinctive, unmistakable to someone who had felt it beneath her hands. "They're like worn bearings," she whispered. "The rotational points are degrading." The epiphany struck her with stunning force. Without waiting for Alliance approval, Maya recalled her team to the Mars outpost they had established, a facility deliberately positioned away from Earth and Alliance oversight. Within the secure workshop, she assembled her top engineers and explained her theory. "The universe functions like a vast machine," she told them, projecting the data she had gathered. "Not metaphorically, literally. Galaxies aren't just collections of stars, but components in an incomprehensibly large cosmic engine." "That's a pretty big leap," Lewis said carefully. "Even for us." "Is it?" Maya brought up the patterns of anomalies she had mapped. "Look at the distribution. They're not random. They're appearing at what would be stress points if the galaxy were a rotating mechanism." Hiroshi adjusted his glasses, studying the projection. "Like failure points in a watch movement when the lubricant begins to degrade." "Exactly," Maya confirmed. "And the frequency is increasing exponentially." For 3 weeks, they worked in secrecy, combining Maya's cosmic observations with engineering principles from various disciplines. Zhang adapted his nanotechnology to create microscopic mechanical models that could replicate the observed failures. Kiyoma applied her knowledge of system stress from water management to map cosmic energy flows. The result was the universal dynamo, a hybrid physical quantum model of the local galactic cluster that incorporated actual mechanical elements alongside Alliance technology they had reverse-engineered. When word of their work leaked to the Alliance, the reaction was predictably dismissive. "Primitive anthropomorphism," declared the crystalline counselor during an inspection of their facility. "Humans childishly projecting their mechanical understanding onto complex quantum phenomena beyond their comprehension." Yet a few brilliant alien minds recognized the potential paradigm shift. Kelvar, once merely their diplomatic liaison, began spending more time in the workshop, asking questions that demonstrated genuine curiosity rather than condescension. "Your species creates physical representations to understand abstract concepts," the diplomat observed, watching Hiroshi adjust a miniature component in the dynamo. "We abandoned this approach millennia ago." "Maybe that was a mistake," Maya suggested. "Some knowledge can only be gained through direct physical interaction." Working alone late one night, Zhang Wei made a discovery that silenced even the most vocal critics. A pattern in the dynamo, a subtle vibration in one of its miniature galaxies, corresponded exactly to an anomaly recently recorded in actual space, an anomaly the Alliance had failed to predict. As the team verified this breakthrough, emergency transmissions began flooding in from distant Alliance outposts. Spatial distortions were appearing at the edges of known space, tearing established travel routes apart and disrupting communication networks. The dynamo predicted exactly where these anomalies would appear next, something the Alliance's sophisticated models failed to do. Kelvar stood in the workshop, silver skin pulsing with what Maya now recognized as profound concern, watching humans make physical adjustments to a model that somehow mirrored the actual universe. Perhaps, the diplomat projected quietly, our civilization has forgotten something fundamental about the cosmos that your primitive hands remember. The agricultural world of Lysithea experienced it first. Farmers tending luminous floating crops noticed something impossible. The gentle rain they depended upon began falling upward. Within hours, the planet's oceans were lifting into the atmosphere, defying fundamental physical laws. Billions fled in panic as their homeworld's gravity inverted catastrophically. On the metropolis planet Cadraxis, the day-slash-night cycle accelerated until a day lasted only minutes, the system's star appearing to streak across the sky in a blur of light. Time itself began flowing at different rates in different systems, making coordinated response impossible. Maya watched the Alliance's sophisticated civilization crumble as its physical foundations became unreliable. Perfect predictive algorithms became useless when the laws they predicted changed hourly. The patterns match our dynamo simulations exactly, Nkioma reported grimly, her eyes bloodshot from days without sleep. The cosmic fabric is unraveling at an accelerating rate. In the Mars workshop, Maya's team worked beyond exhaustion. Nkioma collapsed while calculating gravitational constants, requiring medical intervention. Zhang's hands bled as he rebuilt model components that kept failing under the strain of their tests. The universal dynamo itself became increasingly unstable, mirroring the breakdown occurring in real space. During a particularly intense test, a section of the device actually vanished from reality momentarily, a horrifying demonstration of spacetime's deterioration. The Council is demanding updates, Kelvar reported, the diplomat's silver skin now dull with stress. Thousands of worlds are experiencing critical failures. We're beyond updates, Maya replied. We need an emergency full council session. Overriding protocols established over millennia, Maya forced a gathering of the complete Alliance Council. Thousands of representatives either physically present or projected into the chamber. Many arrived while simultaneously coordinating evacuations of their homeworlds. The council chamber itself experienced distortions during her presentation, with sections aging hundreds of years in seconds or experiencing gravitational fluctuations that sent furniture floating upward. This isn't a series of isolated anomalies, Maya explained, displaying data from the dynamo alongside real-world events. The universe is experiencing mechanical fatigue. Like any machine with moving parts, the cosmos requires maintenance. She projected historical data showing how the breakdown had begun in areas where Alliance civilization had most heavily manipulated spacetime with their advanced technologies. Your technological achievements are magnificent, she continued, but they've come at a cost. You've been running the universal engine without proper maintenance, creating friction and wear in the fabric of reality. The countless tiny tears are now cascading into catastrophic failure. The council descended into chaos, some members demanding Maya's arrest for suggesting their technology was at fault, others begging for solutions, still others insisting they should retreat to distant galaxies, untouched by the deterioration. Through the pandemonium, Maya calmly presented an audacious plan. We need to treat the galaxy itself as a machine in need of repair, not with algorithms and energy fields, but with physical intervention. Impossible, projected the crystalline counselor, its structure now displaying fracture lines from the spatial distortions. The scale alone makes this absurd. Scale is irrelevant, Maya countered. The principles remain the same whether fixing a watch or a galaxy. We need to reinforce stress points, reduce friction in cosmic interactions, and rebalance gravitational dynamics. A silence fell over the chamber as even Maya's most vocal critics struggled to propose alternatives. Their perfect models had failed completely, their understanding of reality itself was unraveling, and time was running out. In that silence, the oldest living member of the Council, a being who had observed the cosmos for over 12,000 years, projected a simple message: we have forgotten how to touch the universe. Perhaps it is time to remember. We need everyone. Maya addressed the emergency broadcast to all of humanity, not just scientists, mechanics, engineers, builders, tinkerers, anyone who's ever fixed something with their hands when the manual failed them. The response exceeded all expectations. People who'd never left their home planets volunteered alongside veterans of space. The Alliance provided technology while humans provided the hands and hearts to use it. Maya divided the massive operation into 3 simultaneous missions, each targeting a different aspect of the cosmic breakdown. Team Alpha, led by Nkioma, deployed to the Galactic core where space-time tiers had reached critical levels. Their retrofitted vessels navigated regions where physics itself was breaking down, requiring constant mechanical improvisation as their instruments and even their bodies experienced unpredictable changes. Gravitational variance exceeding safe parameters, reported a technician as their ship shuddered violently. Nkioma, who had once built water systems that defied engineering textbooks, studied the fluctuation patterns with experienced eyes. It's like pressure buildup in a closed system. We need to create a release point. Using principles from hydraulic engineering scaled to cosmic proportions, her team deployed modified gravity wells to create controlled venting of gravitational pressure, a solution no simulation would have conceived. Team Beta, under Hiroshi's direction, addressed the temporal distortions rippling through populated systems. The elderly watchmaker applied his lifetime of experience with mechanical timing to the cosmos itself. A watch runs properly when each component moves in perfect relation to the others. He explained to his mixed human-alien crew. The universe is no different. His team deployed a network of cosmic stitching devices, technology that combined Alliance quantum engineering with the precision mechanics of watchmaking. Each had to be calibrated by hand under impossible conditions, but gradually the temporal distortions stabilized. Maya led Team Omega to the nexus point where multiple dimensions were bleeding together, the heart of the crisis. Here, in a specially designed suit, she physically entered the tier. Within this impossible space, Maya experienced multiple versions of reality simultaneously. Alliance scientists had theorized about such spaces, but considered them purely mathematical constructs. Maya was touching them with her hands. The suit's sensors transmitted data back to Zhang, who remained on their vessel coordinating all 3 teams. The mathematical models don't match what you're seeing, he reported. Trust what you feel, not what we calculated. Guided by touch and intuition where instruments failed, Maya completed the most crucial repair, physically manipulating the dimensional boundaries to restore proper separation. Throughout these operations, human engineers applied principles of mechanical engineering to the fabric of the universe. They created gravitational lubricant to reduce cosmic friction, reinforced weakened points in spacetime, and effectively performed maintenance on the machine of creation. When Maya emerged from the dimensional rift, an experience that had transformed her perception permanently, she found both humanity and the Alliance fundamentally changed. 1 year later, the newly established Galactic Mechanics Guild headquarters opened on Mars. The vast complex combined Alliance quantum technology with human mechanical workshops, a physical manifestation of their new partnership. Aliens began sending their children to Earth to learn mechanical skills, while humans spread throughout the stars, bringing their unique approach to countless worlds. In a workshop classroom, a new generation of students, human children alongside young aliens of various species, gathered around an instructor disassembling an engine. The most important lesson, explained the teacher, Kelvar, the former diplomat whose silver skin now bore calluses from working with tools, is that understanding isn't just about prediction. It's about reaching out to touch, feel, and fix the universe with your own hands. At the back of the classroom, Maya smiled. Humanity had found its place among the stars not by abandoning their physical nature or pursuing pure intellect, but by embracing the very qualities that made them human: curiosity, adaptability, and the simple wisdom of working with their hands.